Okay, hello everyone, it's me again. I know it's been a while since I made a Path of Exile video, but here we are. I'm playing the SSF Krangled Passives League, and I'm playing Lightning Arrow Hierophant, and I think it's a pretty good build for this event, so I thought I'd make a video on it. Yeah, long story short, sorry for the lack of videos recently, but I've been distracted with other projects, but now I would say my interest in Path of Exile is kind of going up again, so I may try to make some more videos and /or stream on Twitch. In fact, I have been streaming on Twitch the last couple days, this event, if you want to check it out. Okay, but anyway, so this is Lightning Arrow Hiero. I think it's pretty good. I guess I'll just play a map first so you guys can see like what it plays like. I'll just do like a tier 5 map. And yeah, I'll just do this. And then afterwards I'll talk about the build and the gear and the tree and ascendancy and everything. So let's put in this tier 5 atoll. My character is level 75, by the way. Character's level 75. I have a 5-link bow. That's really bad. And that's it. Let's see what it plays like. So as you can see, damage is pretty decent. The movement speed's pretty decent. It's basically just Lightning Arrow Deadeye, except it's Hiero. And I will explain why after this map. And I'll explain like how to level this character and everything. As you can see, the damage in a tier 5 map is pretty good at level 75, despite the fact that the tree is krangled. So I'd say this is pretty good. Dodge the Ice Nova. Alright, and then single target damage is put down Val Lightning Arrow. And as you can see, the boss is dead already. Great. And then I can even show you a metamorph. Just make this. Put down the artillery totems. And just start attacking. And as you can see, the metamorph is dead already. So as you can see, the build's pretty decent. The clear is fairly okay. Single target damage is fairly nice with the artillery ballistas. And the Mirage Archer kills a lot of random stuff before you can even attack it. And the defenses are decent as well. This is Grace Determination. I'll show everything about this build soon. But yeah, so that's basically the mapping, right? And this Krangle tree for Hierophant gives a build like this a lot of really good stuff. So I'm pretty happy with this build. And now let's talk about what the build is. Okay, so the first question that y'all probably have is why Hiero? And here I have this passive tree to show you guys. So this is basically the passive tree that some person on Reddit linked that was like community sourced, and it's locked right now, so it's like fairly accurate. And let's see why Hierophant is good for Lightning Arrow. So right off the bat, you have Aspect of Carnage, right? 40% more damage, right? Then you got Conviction of Power, which is 4 minimum endurance and power charges. So this is like 160% crit chance, in addition to 16% PDR and 16 res, which is like, the PDR is like really good for rangers because rangers usually have a hard time getting PDR. And then you have Overleech here, right? That's like the Slayer Overleech node. And then you have additional 50 int strength with more crit chance, right? So like this in my POB, I don't even have this node yet, but if I hypothetically did have this node, I would literally gain 150% increased crit chance. And I'm not even using that right now. So that's basically the ascendancy. But yeah. And then in addition, you get a lot of nice stuff on the tree as well. Most notably +2 projectiles. You get Master Fletcher here, bow attacks fire an additional arrow. And then here you get multi-shot, attacks fire an additional projectile. So that is like really good. And then you also get some really good keystones. You get precise technique here, which I'm still using, which is really good for leveling because you don't really have multi-leveling. So precise technique here helps a lot. And then you also have Val Pact, which, you know, makes your leech a lot better with Overleech. So that's very convenient. And then in the end game, you also have Magebane here. So that also helps out a lot. In addition, you have a lot of really good notables around here as well, and also small nodes. So let's just go through the notables and then we'll go to the small nodes. So and also the link to this will be in the description. So here you have 30% increased lightning damage and penetrate 8% lightning res. Pretty good. This is a Trinity build, but this is still a nice node even for Trinity, right? And then this is useless. This endurance charge is useless. And then you have fire additional arrow. You have 4% attack speed and strength here. Then you go down here, you have 5% movement speed, 8% attack speed, accuracy, dex. And then you have Whispers of Doom here. And the setup that I'm doing right now is Whispers of Doom with Sniper's Mark and Elemental Weakness because I'm Trinity. So it's very convenient that Whispers of Doom is here. Then you also, well, this is nothing. And then you have Avatar of the Hunt, 6% movement speed, 30% increased damage with bows and evasion. And then you have 10% life notable here. Then going up here, you have, this is nothing. And then you have this node here, 10% chance to freeze, shock, ignite, and elemental damage and res. This is nothing, but it leads to something else good. Multi-shot additional projectile. This is useless. And then you have Forces of Nature here. Attack damage penetrates 10% of enemy res. That's really good. What else is good here? And you have Heart and Soul, 8% life mana. You have Charisma here, which is extremely good. 16% mana reservation efficiency. And then you have Farsight here, 24% increased damage and attack speed. So you have really good notables here. And you also have some really good masteries as well. You have the Mana Mastery here, which gives you reservation efficiency. And then you have another Mana Mastery here, which gives you reduced mana cost. You have an accuracy, you have a Bow Mastery here, which can be used to get accuracy. And then you have a Fire Mastery here, which in the case of Trinity, you have, in the case of Trinity, we have fire damage, and then we have 10% chance to ignite here, and also 10% chance to ignite here on this small node, which gives us 20% chance to ignite even if we don't crit, and therefore on single target we'll basically be dealing 100% increased damage with hits, so that's pretty good. And then you also have an Elemental Mastery here, which gives you 25% chance to invert enemy monster res, which is a pretty substantial damage boost for builds that don't really rely on lowering the enemy's res. The only thing we have lowering the enemy res is Elemental Weakness because of Whispers of Doom, but that still increases the DPS. So, but this inversion node is really good. And then there's also an Evasion Mastery here, so you can get 15% spell suppression. And you combo that with Magebane, of course, to get spell suppression. You have 2 life masteries, one here and one here. So you can get like 15% increased max life and also skills cost life instead of mana cost. And then there's a 2-hand mastery here, which is pretty cool because usually bow characters don't have access to 2-hand mastery. But yeah, you can get 40% increased damage with hits against rare and unique enemies here. And then in the late game, you have a critical mastery here, which you can take the 50% increased effect of non-damaging ailments with crits, and that should scale pretty nicely your shock and stuff. So yeah, there's like a lot of really good stuff around here, and a lot of the small nodes are also pretty good as well. Most of them are just random small stuff, but the notable ones are like this one. This is 10% chance to ignite. This is 10% chance to freeze, shock, ignite. And then here you have an additional 10% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. And again, this is important to proc the fire mastery. And it's also important because if you use precise technique, you're not going to shock because you'd never deal critical strikes. So you actually need to take these nodes to get 20% shock chance so that you can actually shock enemies with lightning arrow while you're leveling. So that's very convenient that we have that access to shock chance and stuff. There's also this node here, which is really good. This is 8% chance to gain phasing on kill. So that helps out your mapping quite a bit. And then also, What else? What others? You also have a mana reservation small node here, 8% mana reservation efficiency. So in total, this build with this setup has 8% RMR here, 16% RMR here for charisma, and then also 12% RMR here with a mana mastery. And using these 3 RMR things, I have been able to run Grace, Determination, Herald of Ice, and Precision with Arrogance. So that's pretty good, right? Herald of Ice, Precision, Grace, Determination. So like my defenses is like pretty decent. I have like 3,000 armor with like really bad gear, and I have like 7,000 evasion. And like once I actually upgrade my gear past like day 1, because I only started playing this character for like 1 day, this build can definitely reach like 10k armor and maybe like 15k evasion, which will be pretty comfortable for mapping in an event like this. So the aura setup is really good, and then Herald of Ice for additional cold damage and clear. So that's pretty good. And then wait, this is the default build. I'll also put this in the POB. This is a lightning arrow character that I played in SSF Ancestor. This is lightning arrow Deadeye, not Krangle, but I'll put this in the link of the description of the video as well. But yeah, so long story short, this is I think a pretty decent build for SSF Krangle. I was able to take the character to level 75 in a day. And also you have access to good jewel sockets here and here. And then also you have a cluster jewel socket here, which I would recommend taking. I actually got really lucky and I got this 3 passive attack cluster, which has damage while leeching, attack speed, and then attack damage on full life, and then also 30% increase attack damage. And of course, all of that damage while leeching is active because of Brutal Fervor, the overleech node. So that's really good. And like in general, I think clusters are going to be really good this league because you just don't have very much on the tree that's good. So getting a cluster jewel basically allows you to negate the krangledness of this event by getting deterministic items or deterministic areas of the tree, because cluster jewels are not krangled. I just got really lucky with this cluster, and now I need to make some jewels as well. I also got this jewel, which is really lucky as well. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to talk about with regard to tree, but I can't remember. Can't remember. All right, so let me talk about the gear of this character. So this is my character so far, level 75. At some point I want to respec into crit, but for now I'm in like white maps and I don't have like my optimal link set up yet. So right now I don't want to do crit. So let me just talk about gear. So this is basically pretty standard armor, evasion, suppression, bow character. It's determination, grace with precise technique. And then you can use arrogance, precision to make sure that you are precise. So I've got 2,600 accuracy, 2,400 max life, so I am precise. And the main idea of this build is to use lightning arrow and artillery ballista, if you're not familiar. And yeah, you basically do artillery ballista, focus ballista, and then you shoot, and the ballista fires a projectile where you shoot. And it's Trinity, so you want to get triple LE on the bow. And yeah. And then this build also makes use of returning projectiles, so it's very important to get Pierce. The main idea is you shoot the enemy, and then the projectile goes through, and then it comes back, and it does extra damage, which is like a more multiplier on top of everything else. And then what the fuck is that sound? Sorry. And then in addition, if you have Sniper's Mark, then the Sniper's Mark projectiles will like split off and then come back and hit, I think. You might have to fact check me on that. But yeah. So returning projectiles is a core support. And then to make this work, you need Pierce. Ideally, I want to unveil Pierce and then like craft it on my glove on a prefix. So like I have this glove ready to go. I just need to craft Pierce, but I don't have that right now. So until I get Pierce, I have to use Pierce support. But once I can craft Pierce on my glove using Betrayal, or I get Pierce implicit and get lucky, I have to use Pierce support. But I would love to replace this with Trinity. And then if I ever get a 6 link, I want to add increased critical damage because I have so much crit chance already from my Ascendancy, right? I've got 4 minimum power charges here in addition to 150% increased crit chance here. So like my crit chance is going to be really good in the end game. So eventually, if I do get a 6 link, I want to get increased critical damage because that'll increase my damage by quite a bit, I believe. I guess you could also stay precise technique and then go for elemental damage with attacks, but I think increased critical damage is better and also allows you to more consistently inflict ailments. But yeah, that's basically the idea. It's just Trinity, Lightning Arrow, and all my other stuff is basically random. It's just random rares I picked up off the ground. Basically anything with life, res, and attribute is really good. I got really lucky with this quiver. Has a lot of damage and a lot of attributes and a good implicit. And I also got lucky with the Thrill Steel helmet, which I think is like so good for mapping that I just never want to replace it. It's just perma onslaught. But yeah, you know, Krangle event attributes are really, really important. So yeah, just go for attribute. For the most important thing is probably attributes, and then res, and then life, in my opinion, and then damage after that if you're able to get it. And then yeah, I tried to go for a 5 link on Lightning Arrow and then a 4 link on Artillery Ballista for now. And then in the end game, I want to go for 6 link Lightning Arrow and then 6 link Artillery Ballista. And then as for Eldritch Implicits, it's, you know, it's in the POB, but the main idea is at some point you want to get action speed on the boots and then +1 pierce on the glove. That would probably be optimal because you don't really need exposure on a build like this. And then, yeah, maybe Intimidate as well. Intimidate, pierce on the glove, action speed on the boot, and then like, I don't know. I don't even know what else you'd get. But yeah, that's basically it. If increased effective non-curse auras or whatever. Try to get a big Ellie bow. So that's basically it. And then leveling this character is basically just leveling Lightning Arrow. I'm sure there's guides out there because Lightning Arrow is a pretty popular build. Basically, you just use Blood Rage and you use Lightning Arrow. You can use Lightning Arrow from level 12. What I did personally was Galvanic Arrow at like level 1. Or I would recommend using Galvanic Arrow level 1 and then Lightning Arrow at level 12. Grab the 2 +1 projectile nodes, then you have 3 projectiles very fast. And then you can basically map really well using that. And then you grab Precise Technique as soon as possible. And then you have 40% more attack damage in acts. And then for Ascendancies, you want to go for Aspect of Carnage first, obviously. And then Conviction of Power for the 4 minimum endurance charges. That helps a lot with res. And then also you get Brutal Fervor third, and then fourth, when you want to respec into crit, you can get the Inquisitor crit node. And then the small nodes are also fairly decent as well. Global accuracy, projectile damage, frenzy charge duration, which is unironically decent with Mana Forge arrows, and then evasion, and then also attack damage. So like coincidentally, every single small ascendancy node also benefits this character, which is very lucky. Oh, I also forgot to mention you have a leech node here, 0.4% of attack damage, leeches life and mana. So you don't have to take this node here because you get it here. But you can take this for like leveling if you want to. Here. And then, yeah, and then I recommend going for a cluster. And then early on in leveling, you probably want to do Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder, and then maybe Purity of Elements until you can get your res fixed. But yeah, totally SSF viable, SSF BTW. Here. I feel like there's one other weird thing that I wanted to talk about, but I literally is just like slipping my mind. Alright, give me like 10 seconds to try to remember. Oh yeah, and then the Mana Forge arrow setup, that's also pretty cool. Because one interesting thing about this build, because usually Lightning Arrow wants you to link like power charge on crit, but here you have +4 minimum power charges. And then in addition, you have Whispers of Doom here. So you no longer need to worry about getting power charges. Instead, what you can do with Whispers of Doom is Mana Forge Arrow, Frenzy, Curse on hit, and Elemental Weakness. So every time you attack, like you attack a couple times and then the Mana Forge Arrow triggers, and then you get Frenzy charges with this, and then you get Elemental Weakness, which is -19 to LE res on any enemy. So this Mana Forge Arrow setup with blue, blue, green, green, I think is really good. It's just a free Elemental Weakness, just like that. So that helps out a lot on like single target, for instance. And then obviously you also have Sniper's Mark with Mark on hit, which I have life tap also. Yeah, that's basically it. Cool. All right, that's the build. I would definitely recommend this build whether you want to like go for like level 50 or more. For me personally, I want to try to see if I can hit level 95. I think this build definitely can do it. So yeah, I'm going to be streaming this on Twitch if anyone might be interested. Yeah. All right, I can't think of anything else to say. Let me know if you found this video helpful or if you want to give this build a try. I think it's a pretty good fun build for the Krangled event. I think this is a very interesting and unique way of building Lightning Arrow. So yeah, I think it's cool. All right, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.